Hey, welcome. Let me ask you something. What if I told you that a lot of the choices you make every single day, from what you buy at the store to really big life decisions, aren't actually, well, yours? It turns out there's a kind of hidden architect shaping our decisions without us even realizing it. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain on exactly that, the framing effect.
To really get how this works, I'm going to put you right in the driver's seat. Let's imagine you're in charge and you have to make a decision where lives are literally on the line.
Okay, here's the situation. A deadly disease is coming for 600 people. You've got two options. Program A is a sure thing. You will save exactly 200 people. Program B is a gamble. There's a 1 in 3 shot you save everybody, but a 2 in 3 shot you save no one. Take a second. Which one do you pick? Got it? Okay.
Now let's reset. Same disease, same 600 people. But look at these options. Program C means 400 people will definitely die. With Program D, there's a 1 in 3 chance that nobody dies, but a much bigger chance that all 600 die. So, what's your choice this time? You might be noticing these are the exact same outcomes as before, just worded a little differently.
If you felt a really strong pull in one direction on the first slide, and then a totally different one on the second, congratulations, you've just experienced the framing effect firsthand. And this isn't just some clever riddle, it's a legendary psychological experiment with some frankly mind-blowing results. Just look at what happened in the original study. It's a complete reversal. When the choice was framed positively around saving lives, an overwhelming 72% of people played it safe. But when it was framed negatively around people dying, a massive 78% suddenly switched and took the risk. The math is identical, but our gut reactions, totally different. And that right there is the perfect definition. The framing effect is this cognitive bias where we react completely differently to the same choice depending on whether it's presented as a gain or as a loss. So, why on earth do we do this? Well, the answer gets into something called prospect theory. And the core idea is simple but powerful. The pain of losing something feels way, way worse than the pleasure of gaining the very same thing. We are just fundamentally wired to avoid losses.
This really breaks it down. When we're talking about gains, like saving lives, we don't want to risk it. We'll take this sure thing. But when we're faced with a definite loss, like people dying for sure, all of a sudden, we become massive risk takers to try and avoid it. This incredible work by psychologists Tversky and Kahneman totally blew up the old idea in economics that we're all just perfectly logical decision makers.
Okay, so this isn't just some quirky thing that happens in a lab. This bias is a super powerful tool, and it is used all around you every single day. Let's check out a few examples.
Here's a classic you've definitely seen. Which of these sounds better for dinner? 75% lean meat or 25% fat meat? The first one frames the positive, the gain. The second frames the negative, the loss. It's the exact same product, but I think we all know which one flies off the shelves.
It works with money, too. A study looked at how to get PhD students to register on time. When they faced a penalty for late registration, a loss, a whopping 93% signed up early. But when it was framed as a discount for early registration, a gain, only 67% did. The fear of losing that money was a way bigger motivator. And this is where the stakes get incredibly high. In medicine, hearing that a surgery has a 90% chance of success feels pretty good, right? Reassuring. But framing that exact same surgery as having a 10% risk of complications, well, that suddenly feels a whole lot scarier. How a doctor frames your options can literally be a life or death thing.
And of course, this is bread and butter for politics and public policy. Talking about a 95% employment rate sounds like a huge win, but focusing on a 5% unemployment rate for the exact same economy can be framed as a national crisis. The frame completely controls the story.
So we know framing is powerful, but does it affect everyone the same way? Well, the research shows that our vulnerability to it actually changes quite a bit as we go through life.
It's actually fascinating. Young kids are less likely to be fooled. They tend to just look at the numbers. But as we become teenagers, we start to think more in terms of the gist or the feeling of a situation, and that's when framing really starts to get its hooks in. And that susceptibility just keeps on increasing as we get older.
This is a really big deal. The fact that older adults are especially vulnerable has huge implications when it comes to things like complex medical choices or big financial decisions about retirement. Being swayed by how an option is packaged instead of its actual value can have really serious life-altering consequences.
So why does this happen? Well, research suggests that as we get older, we just have fewer cognitive resources to throw at deep analytical thinking. It's more tiring. So we tend to rely more on mental shortcuts and the most easily available information, which is usually the frame itself. And we make choices based on that first emotional hit of a potential gain or loss.
Okay, so this bias is powerful, it's everywhere, and it might seem a little depressing. But here's the good news. We are not helpless against it. Just knowing that it exists is the single most important weapon you have.
All right, let's just boil this all down. The big takeaways are how you're told something can be even more important than what you're being told. Our brains are hardwired to run from guaranteed losses and run towards guaranteed gains. This is a tool used constantly in marketing, politics, and medicine, and your best defense, just being aware that it's happening.
The real key to breaking the frame is to just slow down. When you're facing a big choice, force yourself to rephrase the options. Ask yourself, okay, what's another way of looking at this? When you engage that slower, more logical part of your brain and get more real information, the magic trick of the frame starts to fall apart. So, I'll just leave you with this thought. The next time you see an ad, read a news headline, or have a doctor explain a procedure, you're going to see the frame. You can't unsee it now. The only question is, what are you going to do about it? Thanks for joining me.